Chapter 6 A New Path Ignites. The air inside the ancient temple still crackled with lingering energy, though the suffocating density of mana had vanished along with the mysterious figure who called himself V. A silence settled between Caelion and Arlena as they stood in the aftermath, their thoughts still racing to make sense of what had just transpired. Arlena was the first to break the silence, her voice laced with unease. "Did you know anything about him, Caelion?" His mana felt unnatural, dark-scented and oppressive. I could barely breathe with the weight of it in this room. If I had to guess, I would say this whole temple wasn't built to worship him, but to hold him here. Caelion's hands still trembled slightly, the echoes of the strange power surging through him, refusing to fade. "I don't know, Arlena, but he did something to me. I can feel the mana in my body now. It's like it was always there, but I never noticed before, and now I can even see it radiating from you." Arlena narrowed her eyes, stepping closer as she studied him with curiosity. "That's odd. Magic perception like that takes years to develop. Even I can only sense mana faintly when I focus, and even then it's hard to tell apart, especially with powerful users." She folded her arms, exhaling sharply. "Your mana feels off, Caelion. I've never seen anything like it. You need to mask it before you want to travel to the mainland. Some places don't take kindly to magic users, and right now you're practically screaming mana wielder to anyone who can see it." Caelion raised an eyebrow. "Mana masking? That's a thing?" "Of course it is," Arlena said. "I will teach you how to keep it hidden. But first, when we get back to the village, we need to go to my mother. If anyone can make sense of this, it's her. I need to know what this place was, who he was, and what exactly he did to you." Caelion let out a deep breath, trying to ease the tension in his chest. He did not feel his injuries anymore when the mana was released, and he felt stronger than before. "Well, at least the mana made me feel better, right? It couldn't have been that bad." Arlena frowned. "Caelion, this place was probably built to contain someone powerful. Someone that others wanted locked away." She shook her head. "And we just set him free," she sighed, pushing her hands through her hair before glancing towards the entrance of the chamber. "Speaking of getting out of here, your cloak is still on that boulder near the lake where we fell. You should grab it before we leave. And now that you have fire magic, the dark shouldn't be much of a problem. I will look for a way out." Caelion hesitated for a moment before nodding. "Alright, I won't take long." After a short while, Caelion returned, holding his cloak. He grinned slightly. The heat dried it out completely. Arlena smiled briefly. "That's great to hear. While you were gone, I found a stairway leading upward. There's light coming through from above. It should lead us out of here." Caelion put on his cloak, and the two stepping carefully towards the path that would take them back to the surface. As they emerged from the darkness, a familiar sight greeted Caelion, the very same cave entrance he had spotted earlier in the clearing. A shiver ran down his spine. Had something been guiding them here all along? "Arlena," Caelion said, tugging at his sleeve. "I almost forgot. Didn't we come here for the Antlers Dawn festival? Did you ever find any deer antlers?" She blinked, momentarily thrown off by the sudden shift in conversation. "I actually found a pair right before you called me over to look at the strange stone. But, well, everything else happened, and I kind of forgot to mention it." Caelion let out a soft chuckle, shaking his head. "Heh, at least we got what we came for then." As he turned back to glance at the cave, his breath hitched. The entrance was gone. Where once there had been a jagged opening in the rock, there was now nothing but an unbroken wall of stone. "Arlena?" he whispered. She followed his gaze, her face twisting in confusion. "Caelion, that doesn't make any sense. We just walked through there." He exhaled sharply. "Yeah, and now it's gone." A weight settled over them, both, as realization crept in. Whatever had happened in the temple, whatever they had awakened, was beyond their understanding. "Let's just go home," Caelion muttered. "I still feel off." Arlena nodded. glancing at the darkening sky. Good idea. It's already getting dark. The walk back to the village was quiet. Arlena split off towards her home, while Caelion made his way to his father's house. Caelion paused beside the bucket outside the door, splashing cool water across his face and wiping away most of the dirt and dried blood with his sleeve. As he stepped inside, the familiar scent of wood and salt filled his lungs. The warmth of home should have been comforting, but Velric's gaze was sharp and knowing. "You're late, Caelion." Caelion shifted uneasily. "Yes, sorry. Got caught up in something." Velric's eyes narrowed slightly. "Something? Or trouble?" Caelion hesitated before sighing. There was a temple underground. Arlena and I found it by accident." Velric's expression darkened. "A temple?" he repeated, his voice careful. "On Solus?" Caelion nodded. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the strange stone he had taken from the clearing. "It was covered in these carvings," he murmured. Velric's jaw tightened. He studied the stone for a long moment before letting out a slow breath. Caelion then told the rest of the story about the encounter with the wolf, the entity V, and his ability to use fire magic. "Mana and magic are dangerous, Caelion. Be careful with what you meddle in, especially fire magic. It's rare, and rare things attract the wrong kind of people." His father's words carried a weight that Caelion hadn't expected. "Don't use it unless you have to," Velric continued. "I won't tell you not to, because I know you will do what you want anyway. But be cautious. Even here in the village, eyes are always watching." Caelion swallowed. "I understand." Velric studied him for another long moment before nodding. "Get some rest. You look like you need it." The next morning, Caelion found himself at Arlena's home, sitting across from her mother, Syldarra. The woman had an air of quiet wisdom about her, her gaze thoughtful as she listened to his story. "A temple on Solus?" she mused. "I find it difficult to believe, but Arlena's description matches something I've read before." Caelion placed a stone on the table between them. Syldarra reached for it, but the moment her fingers made contact, a sharp pulse of mana passed between them. Her eyes widened. "Your mana is unnatural," she whispered. "Chaotic or unstable, I can't quite place it." She turned her gaze back to the stone. "Mana flows through all things in Syldarra, but once awakened, it doesn't grant just any gift. It reveals what was always there, deep within you." She leaned forward. "Fire answered your call, and that means it's part of your nature now. It will come to you faster, easier, like it's always known you. But the other elements, they won't be as forgiving." Syldarra's voice turned serious. "Tread carefully, Caelion. Power like that, it burns both ways." She stood brushing her hands together. "I need to check something. There's a book in my collection that might hold answers about this V person you two mentioned." As she disappeared into another room, Caelion and Arlena exchanged a glance. What would they discover next? Could they finally identify this V person?